what's up, good people? It's your boys, the Beards of War. Happy New Year 2025 to you guys out there. Uh, from myself, Thick Nick Fury, we got Fat Broken Rambo, Scorched Earth, and we
What
got
up?
Captain Jack. All right, so listen, man. This year we got something special for you guys. We want to let you know about VetSync. It's a community of veterans. There's no place better to go than VetSync on Discord. So check out that invitation code in the description below. It's like VFW for the GWOT generation, all right? So we're moving on. We're getting out the bars. We're going behind the computer. So it's still a way to connect. So as we here as a veteran community, all of us are retired vets, and this is what we do. This is what we like to do. We like to get together with each other, talk about movies that we love, shows that we love from different generations of movies. But today, man, we're gonna get into an oldie but a goodie. It's been probably redone. We kind of spoke about this a little earlier. And it's 2003's A Man Apart, starring Vin Diesel and Lorenz Tate, um, who I refer to as a Hollywood vampire because that dude is the same age in every single movie he makes.
You're not kidding,
Um,
man.
right? I mean, a great movie, man. Lots of action going back. Again, we're going back to 2003, so it's over 20 years ago now, like 22 years ago. If that doesn't since shivers up your spine. But before we get into that, we got a trailer recommendation. What you got for us, FBR?
Yeah, man. So one of us brought this up earlier, and I can't remember who it was, but Zero Day coming out on Netflix. It looks like it's gonna be a miniseries starring Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. I think is gonna be POTUS in it. So it looks like he's kind of some kind of counterterrorism expert gets called in, and then they have to start questioning like civil liberties and constitutional rights and all that other crap. But it kind of looks like reminds me of The Siege with Bruce Willis and Denzel Washington from back in like the early 2000s, late 90s. I don't know. Kind of gives me that kind of vibe. Like terrorist attacks gonna happen, bad shit, and we're gonna have to infringe on some freedoms to get to the end result. And there's obviously gonna be a storyline there. So it'll I don't know. Looks like a good cast. I'm definitely interested. I believe it drops in February on
Okay.
Netflix. So
Hey man,
yeah,
gotta break
man.
a few eggs. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna defend the country, it's a messy job. All
Right.
right. So A Man Apart, as I said, we're talking about was directed by F. Gary Gray, who's done phenomenal work throughout his time in the business. And you're basically following Vin Diesel's character uh and there's an assassination on his wife after busting a drug cartel. And he basically spends the rest of the movie trying to figure out like who killed his wife, right? So he kind of brings his buddy in, fellow DEA agent, Lorenz Tate, Demetrius, who plays Demetrius in this movie. And it's one of those, okay, I get it. We're going into Mexico and we're gonna take down the cartel because no one's gonna have our backs, just me and you, buddy, against the world. And it kind of everything we kind of expect from a movie of that caliber. It was entertaining, definitely entertaining to watch. I do love certain scenes, certain characters really step out to me. Like I love Overdose and I love Big Sexy. Like those are definitely like B, C characters, but it completely made the movie that much more enjoyable for me. So with that being said, who wants to start us off, man? Who wants to get us going with this?
I don't know, man. So like when I saw this comment on our channel a couple days ago, I was kind of excited because I was like, man, I had fond memories of this film. Like F. Gary Gray, man, phenomenal director. I loved him for most of his career. He did like Friday, he did Straight Outta Compton, a couple other flicks. Just solid director. Set it off with Queen Latifah. Really, really good. He's got solid action chops and just like his style. And this is back when Vin Diesel, he had 10 minutes worth of acting he was able to put forth into something. So, hey, man, I remember watching the trailer for this movie when it first dropped, and we always talk about how powerful music is. And I remember this trailer dropped with Puddle of Mudd's Blurry. It was the first time I'd ever heard the song, and dude, it just speaks to you, man. And to this day, I can still remember that trailer and the tagline of like, "How far would you go to avenge the ones that you've loved and lost?" Kind of thing. It was really powerful. Going back and rewatching this film though, I kind of felt like it might have had its time in the sun, and other movies have done the same storyline over and over again to death. And I would argue in some facets they've probably done parts of this film significantly better. But hey, man, that's just how it works in Hollywood. This was made 22 years ago now, so it's been a minute. But for what it's worth, he moves along the storyline, goes from like trying to follow the street level dealers to basically the captains to get to the new big boss, right? Because that's the thing, man. At the beginning of the movie, he's captured the head of the snake, and now the new head of the snake, Diablo, has declared war on him and his family. So
Yeah.
All right,
N-
hey, yo. So first off, let me shout out Carmen Cato. I think that's the person that recommended this movie,
I
if I'm not
I believe
mistaken.
so.
We
So
listen.
yeah, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we
Big
do.
shout out. That being said, stand by for incoming. Yeah, this this movie's gonna get
This is how we
smoked.
treat our audience members.
Yep, so
And they
sorry,
love it.
but
They love it.
yeah, it's true. Somebody's got to do it. And yeah, the movie sucked. I mean, unlimited ammo. It was like a video game. It's a Vin Diesel movie. So, I mean, my hopes weren't high. My hopes weren't high back then, even though I liked them a little better back then. I think the best movies ever done, and the last thing I
Triple
thought
X.
was it, was interesting is going to be one that I'm going to recommend a little later. So I won't touch that yet. But yeah, just unlimited. I mean, he had a SBR that he just kept unloading on, and he was standing out in the middle of like cars exploding, getting shot at by like 6 to 8 different people. Nobody hits him. He beats a guy to a pulp. He is, I will say he's consistent because if I can recall just about everything I've seen from Vin Diesel, he has this weird thing about being super emotional. He's always crying about something. And it's kind of like what Tyrese? Tyrese, I think it was. Yeah, just crying about everything. He's emotional about everything. Everything's emotional. He's having a breakdown every 15 seconds and falling apart. He's got PTSD every other minute. It's just yeah, it was all over the place for me. Um, it was I wouldn't even say it was okay for me. It was just blah. Even for the era. Way to go, Vin Diesel. You stayed pretty much in sync with that for your career thus far. I mean, look at all the Fast and Furious. What are you on? 87 now? But regardless, the acting, yeah, kind of sucked. I will say I liked Overdose and Big Sexy though. They probably were the stars of the show, if you ask me. Um, yeah, that's all I got on it.
Yeah,
Sucked.
so I mean, so yeah, the first part of the movie, like Vin Diesel without sleeves. I'm like, okay, here we go, right on time, right? He has no sleeves, but that's neither here nor there. I do like the character of Overdose, and if you remember that scene, like he's trying to explain to these guys like what went on. So they're like, well, where were you? He's like, I was in the attic. Well, what were you doing in the attic when these guys were dying? He's like, hiding. Like he was like, duh. Like, what do you think I'm gonna be doing?
He's
Then
like,
he's
you
like,
see
did you
that
see
dude
the
with a
guy? His right with
yeah.
his throat pulled out through his neck. He said his reflex is too slow. So it was just funny to have the interaction. He's like,
Yeah.
man, those guys are gonna kill me. What are you gonna do? Take me to jail? He said, let's go. I'm cold. Like he was like, he didn't even care about the cops. And Big Sexy was just that dude that's just kind of just want to be part of the clique. He was like, man, I've been down with you guys for whatever. Oh, you want to go check this out? Cool. I got Capone, my drug dog, the little drug sniffing chihuahua. And I was like, those are the types of like comic relief that really does make a movie like this more watchable. And he's like, oh man, I got something I want to try out. He's at the scene with a minigun. I don't think he pulled the trigger once on it because I didn't see any type of, firepower like that coming out of that weapon. But that's what you like. Like that dude is just overkill. He's down for whatever. Is the movie believable? Not really. All right. Like, but I mean, when you look at most action films, like how believable are they, right? Okay, so wait, you're able to go back and forth between the United States and Mexico, track down a drug lord, and like that's such a lot of movement for two guys to pull off, right? It was one of those. I was honestly expecting a double cross somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, how did they find out where he lived? Well, he did throw a party for undercover cops at his beach house. So I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? So he wasn't really playing a role of undercover DEA agent very well. And I'm like, how do you have such a nice house? Meanwhile, your partner is living in Compton, like a
Yeah.
row house. Right? I'm like, I never understood that. Like, he's been making the same amount of money. He's got a family. All of a sudden, they got to live in the slums. But whatever. I do feel like it was one of those. Um, okay, he couldn't control his emotions because he's really upset about the death of his wife. Completely understand that. And the guy that he literally killed that said, "Oh, don't I know you?" I'm like, dude, you don't know your target when you're face to face with him. You literally just try to kill him, and you put a head on his wife, and then you're gonna talk crap about the dude. Like that makes no sense. So he kind of asked for that, and it just went left from there. And the dude was literally should have at least had some type of counseling. Like, how long did this happen? Like, his house wasn't even fixed, and this dude's already still on the case, still trying to track this guy down. and he was basically fueled by emotion, and which would cause him to make those bad decisions. And Demetrius is kind of trying to rein him in a little bit, but still his ride or die, right? So it's like, man, I don't think you should do this. It's a bad idea, but I'm right there with you. And that's what brothers at arms do. Hey, man, this is
Well,
stupid, but let's go,
so I want to
right?
caveat that because I will tell you, I wouldn't go to one of my brothers and say, "Hey, man, I need you to go with me," and then you tell me, "Well, you know what, I got a wife, kids, and family." No, it's what if she died? And like basically try and coerce him into going, like kept guilt tripping him in front of his wife. Like, hey, yeah, you need to go with me. You need to go with me. It's kind of jacked up. I think he was hanging on to emotions throughout all of his films from maybe that one that just bled over because he's emotional in every damn thing. And it's just like, come on, Vin Diesel. Like,
He's
dude,
only
grow
emotional
up.
about
You're mad at The
family.
Rock. You're mad at the people in the movie. You're mad at the movie. Like, you just don't know. And then I figured out how they knew where he was, and knew he was undercover and all that. If you look at like his captain and a few others, everywhere they went, they had on like these big DAE or DEA ball caps everywhere. Like at the party, the guy's got the DEA ball cap on. Out in town, he's got the DEA ball cap. I'm like, is that
Yeah,
the
that's
only
what I'm
hat
saying. The
you own?
parties that were making sense. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Are you guys
Yeah.
undercover or not? Like, which is it? You're wearing a bat, you're hanging a badge around your neck. So initially, when they were going in, he's like, oh, I need your weapons. I'm like, okay, are they going? This is covert? No, they're kicking down doors. You taking my weapons? Like, bro, what am I supposed to do? Just say freeze? Like, no, bro, I need more than this. And the guy
I
just
mean,
gave me the
man,
guns back. He like bureaucracy. I'm like, I don't even know what that was because that initially led me to believe, okay, this dude's got to be in on it because he's trying to take my weapons and then send me into a firefight with the cartel. So I'm like, that made no sense whatsoever right there. But I guess that was kind of to show us that um there were still guys that were on their side, even though it was like, okay, we got to get through the BS. There was guys that would say, hey man, listen, I know that's not the proper way to do things, but this is how we're going to get it done. So I was just expecting a double cross somewhere because that would have
Yeah.
probably made the movie a little bit deeper rather than just a revenge movie. That's really what it turned into in a revenge movie. And all you did was get the dude arrested at the end of the day,
Yeah.
which I don't
yeah, it
understand
was
because
like
the
the
movie
worst
over.
standoff scene ever, too. I mean, it was
Right.
the ending was just kind of weird, man. And it actually brought me to a point where I had to kind of Google it and figure out like what happened to this film. Because, like I said, I remember it from 20 plus years ago and I remember enjoying it. So I was kind of taken back by how jarring I felt this movie was today to me today. Now, granted, we kind of grow out of shit and everything happens all the time, but like, I guess there's a fair amount of studio interference because initially the guy who plays, I think his name is Mimo, right? The main drug cartel leader that they do the snatch and grab on the
Yeah.
beginning.
Memo. Yeah.
Memo, so thank you.
Yep.
He is supposed to be, and I forget because this ending alludes to the fact that Memo is Diablo and the dude, the guy from Crocodile Dundee Part Two, the villain, the guy
Oh
dies in the
wow, you
fucking.
went way back.
Yeah, man, I did because that movie stayed with me, unlike this one. So in Crocodile Dundee 2, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, that dude is not supposed to be Diablo, and it's supposed to be Mimo. And in the original cut, it was Mimo actually helping him out because he felt bad for killing his wife or having been part of his wife's assassination. So, like, I guess it's a completely different cut. I'm not sure, but that's what Reddit says. Um, and take it for what it's worth. But I could kind of see where the movie kind of got diced a little bit because man, tonally too, it's all over the map. Like, granted, guys like Overdose and Big Sexy, they do have that comedic relief, but like in a movie that's supposed to be like so heavy and dark and depressing because like this dude just got his wife just got killed, man. I would argue that kind of degree of sensitivity to the scene and also to the overall arc of the movie. You wouldn't want that comedy. You'd want it to be straight up fucking violent, like Law Abiding Citizen, another F. Gary Gray directed movie. Like that movie's dark as shit, man, and rightfully so because that story started out such violence. I'd argue
Man
the
on
same thing
fire.
here. Man on Fire, man.
Yeah, no
Like
comedy in that
I did
whatsoever.
not want Christopher Walken cracking a joke in Man on Fire. Fuck no, man.
Right? Ugh.
Cowbell.
And I think that's kind of where this falls apart. That and Vin Diesel being cast in it from the get-go. But the ending scene to me didn't really work either. I've seen it done better, and I would argue that if you like this film, and this doesn't go against what I'm going to recommend, but for some reason I was rewatching this and I kept thinking about Sabotage, the DEA movie where Schwarzenegger plays like a corrupt team leader for like a strike team and they snatch
Yeah.
up like $10 million. He's got a sequence at the end of that film that reminds me of this, and I think it was done significantly better, but they kept the tone dark because the subject matter was dark.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what it was. So for me, for this to be a better movie or a good movie, you kind of need more than, oh, they killed my wife.
Yeah.
Okay, like give me some, like I said, give me that double cross. Give me that deep,
Yeah.
type of, oh man, I can't believe they double crossed. I can't believe
Yeah.
they betrayed me. Some betrayal, something. Granted,
It,
if it had been something like his partner Demetrius double crossing them, that would have been completely dark. I'm like, oh, I can't believe
yeah.
your boy of all these
Talk
years.
about perfect, man.
Right, but
Perfect.
that makes it a hardcore movie. And yeah, you're
Yep.
gonna hate Lorenz Tate for all of 5 minutes because you know he's gonna come right back with something great. You're gonna love him again. But you can't be afraid to take that step and go, you know what,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and punch the audience in the gut. Let's give them something more than, oh man, his beautiful wife that they never really got a chance to start over. Like don't give me that. Like I get it. Like it does anger you, and I do get his emotional tie to his wife. But that's like Punisher cut in half. Like they killed the Punisher's entire family, right? Okay, it's a little more than just killing his wife, but that sent him down a dark path. All right, cool. If we're trying to say like Vin Diesel's kind of going Punisher mode, they got to give me a little bit more than just killing his young wife. Um, Again, they would get together since at 15. Maybe if they had explored that a little more in the movie, give us a little bit more history. Like, wow, man, they were together for like 10 years before they, like if you go and build that relationship, then that
Yeah.
kind of endears the relationship to the audience a little
And you
bit
can even
more.
do it through like flashback sequences of him talking through the trauma of losing his wife and going through like you can have that as part of the arc and still drive the story forward, man. It works.
Exactly. Right.
I just
Yeah.
don't think there was enough emotional connection for the return to be there for the movie.
Right. Right. And then all this that came about, and he's
Yeah.
willing to blow the whole thing
Yeah.
open because he's upset about something that the guy said. Like, dude, you can't keep it cool. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like Lorenz Tate, fantastic job, dude. Like that dude's just solid, man. To me, he's a solid actor in just about everything I've seen him in. He is one of my recommendations going forward. He's in one of those movies, but in general, Man Apart was a little bit less than great for me. Uh, if you like I said, if you want an action movie, you want something to watch that kind of give you that feel of bullets flying and punches being thrown, and maybe, but not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, watch Training Day.
Again, till we know you've already seen
And
it once or
again,
twice.
Or maybe one of the recommendations we're about to talk about.
There you go. Let's
that's
do
true.
that. Let's do
Yeah.
that. Yo, what's the FBR? What you got, man? What's your
All right,
recommendation?
man. So I'm keeping the law enforcement theme, and I'm going to go with one of my all-time favorites. And I might have already talked this one up on the channel before, but I can't give it enough love, man. Street Kings, 2008, Keanu Reeves. All right, it's an all-star cast. It is Forrest Whitaker, Hugh Laurie, Chris Evans before he could flame on and flame off, um, Jay Moore, countless others. Commons in it, Terry Crews, man. It is a knockdown, drag-out cast, and this has that street level grit to it that you want. If you love Training Day, man, do yourself a solid, watch Street Kings because it's kind of like if you took The Shield and Training Day and smashed it together with a lot more insider threat kind of stuff. Oh man, it's so good. It's a fantastic film. Highly recommend it. It's done right, man. Done right. Solid flick.
Nice.
Cool.
And you got to pay to
Keanu.
rent it. Sorry guys, it's not streaming anywhere currently.
Yeah, yeah.
Keanu.
Yeah, he's so good in that movie, man.
All right, Scorch, what you got,
Yeah.
bro?
So my recommendation, as I mentioned earlier or alluded to, I think this is the only movie that for me that Vin Diesel did decent in, and I won't rewatch it because I'm scared I'll have the same effect as A Man Apart. So, Pitch Black from 2000. You can see that on Tubi. He basically is, a prisoner that they're transporting. It's a sci-fi movie, and they crash on some planet that's pretty much like a desert, and they have these creatures that only come out when it's dark. So they're about to go into a long eclipse, and Vin Diesel had something done. They did something to his eyes, so it made it hard for him to see relatively in the day, but definitely he could see better at night, I think. And he was able to see these creatures. Meanwhile, he was trying to escape from the people who had him, and were taking him to whatever prison. Eventually, he starts to help them out, but yeah, I think this is the only movie he did decent in, and that might have been because it was, at the really the beginning of his career. if I'm not mistaken. It was,
I would say it launched him for sure.
yeah, that one put him kind of on the map. Thought he was decent in that, and then started to go downhill after that. So worth a watch. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely worth a watch. That one and maybe the second one.
I
But
was gonna ask, what do you think of the other ones?
the second one was okay. Everything after that, I mean, he just started to go downhill. As soon as his star rose, it fell. So all in the same day.
What I didn't
Amazing.
understand was like Pitch Black was phenomenal. It was,
Yeah.
and I'll say that, man. That's probably I'm with you. It's one of the greatest Vin Diesel movies I've ever seen, and that's not a huge bar. But
But
I
he
would say
did,
this,
yeah.
like his character as Riddick was great in this one specifically because A, it was rated R, and B, he was like you didn't. I would argue that he was more villain than anti-hero, and I really
Oh
sort of
yeah.
hate that
Right.
term. And I think
Yeah.
that's where the sequels kind of deviated too much, and he
Yep.
went toward like a more of a good guy kind of anti-hero vibe, and then went
Mhm.
PG-13. Man, Chronicles of Riddick, I think it's the second one, right? That's where like
Uh
Carl
yeah, yep.
Urban, yeah, and they have like the
In like
the
2013, I
cult
think.
kind of thing. That was a fantastic film too, man. But it started kind of going in that direction. Um, but I agree, man. I think Pitch Black's a phenomenal film.
Cool, man. Good one. Good one. All right, man. So I'm gonna close this out with another Lorenz Tate movie, bro. He was the same age in this movie and was 8 years prior, and
The
that is
Daywalker.
Dead Presidents. If you have not seen Dead Presidents, stop right now.
Mm,
No, you can
Yeah.
come back after this is over. I want you to go ahead and
Pause.
watch Dead Presidents. Rent it because you got to rent
now,
it. It's one of
do it.
those
Yeah.
that's worth the $3.99. Promise you that. So you got Lorenz
So
Tate, you
good.
got Chris Tucker, Nebuchadnezzar Wright, you got Keith David, Clifton Powell. Like there's so many good actors, Bokeem Woodbine. Like
Woodbine. There you go.
it follows the story of like Lorenz Tate and his guys. They go into Vietnam and they do the thing, they do their job. They come out and they're struggling. They come out and like, man, we don't have any money. I'm trying to find work. And so, you kind of find out, hey man, look, we can do the stick up game, right? Like we kind of exhausted all other methods. His girl is pregnant. He's under the pressure to provide. And Clifton Powell's like that pimp. They're like, man, don't worry, man. I got your girl taken care of. We all know that dude from the hood. That's not the dude you want around your kid or your woman. So he kind of did what he felt he needed to do, and it just goes completely south, man. The things, like just fall apart during the heist. Keith David as Kirby is phenomenal in this movie, man. That's where I literally fell in love with that dude as an actor.
Oh
He
yeah.
gave you that dad vibe, that big brother vibe, and that I will smack you in the face because you're being stupid vibe. And that's kind of like where he was like he tried to protect them throughout the whole thing, but it just went left, man. And at the end, when he's in court and he's like, man, I fought for this country, and the judge, played by Martin Sheen, was like, well, I was a veteran too, and blah blah blah. So it's like, man, they threw the book at him. It's like, man, like it was almost like it was incredulous that he couldn't believe that the country he fought for was turning their back on him because of a heist. So yeah, but people died. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like he never left the war. The war just followed him home. And like Chris Tucker, that scene when they bust into his house, and man, he's already got the drugs in his arm. Man, he went out with the Al Green music playing in the background. That scene is forever etched in my mind. That's why I say music makes a huge difference. You
Wow.
take Al Green out of that scene, oh, okay, he overdosed. That Al Green song, like it just fit perfectly. And that's why I say music is so important to cinema. And it was a great movie. It doesn't have a happy ending, but that's what you need. Directed by the Hughes brothers.
Yep.
Phenomenal, phenomenal film. If you have not seen Dead Presidents, I implore you to go check that movie out. You will not be disappointed. Definitely far better than A Man Apart. And again, Lorenz Tate, the Hollywood vampire that he is ageless. The dude is a phenomenal actor in this movie, and it grips you and it gets you involved in everything that's going on with him as his character develops and the other characters he's with, and you feel for him. It's kind of like, man, you want him to pull off a heist. That's how bad it was. It was like you want the quote unquote bad guys to win because in this scenario, like they're the bad guys, right? They're the robbers, and you're rooting for them to win because you know what they've been through to get to that point. Great movie for me, 1995. You can rent it on Amazon Prime, Fandango. Great movie. That's my recommendation, man, to get the Man Apart taste out of your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, good movie. Good pick.
I will say too, man, if I can plug it real quick, the soundtrack is 2 volumes, and if you were looking for your fucking your entrance in R&B music, there is no greater double album than the soundtrack to Dead Presidents. I guarantee you it's got some of the greatest songs ever from that era.
Sir.
Highly recommend
Yes,
it.
sir. Absolutely. I
Spinners, man.
second that. I second that.
Mm,
And I already told you Al Green was in it. What more do you need?
that's right.
All right, man. So what's up, man? I think that kind of wraps things up, guys.
I
I think
do.
we've
Yeah.
successfully gotten through our first 2025 review. Again, we definitely appreciate you guys giving us recommendations. Continue to
Yeah,
do
man.
so, man. Like and
Thank you.
subscribe, man. Like interact
Yeah.
with us. We'd love to,
Thanks.
talk to you guys again. These are retired veterans coming to you guys who are, other veterans out there or people who are have veterans in their family, man. We appreciate you guys. And that's we do it because we love to do it, man. We do it because it's fun. We do it because it's something that we all get something out of it. It's an interaction, it's therapy kind of for us. So we hope it's therapy for some of you guys as well. If you guys had a not so great holiday, hopefully, man, you can come and hang out with us and make it a little bit better. Like I said, if you need some movie recommendations, hit us up, man. We respond. We're on Instagram. We on the gram. We out there. So, hey, Scorch, man, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, I did enjoy this.
You fall asleep?
No, no. I just my throat's been kind of jacked up because of the weather change.
Oh, yeah, we got some
Anecdotally,
snow.
we got like what 6 inches, 7 inches of snow out here,
I got
shoveling the
27 out here.
driveway, all
I'm just
that
kidding.
stuff,
I ain't get that
man.
much.
Been crazy. So yeah, it's just my throat's jacked up from that a little bit. But other than that, no, we do appreciate you guys coming out. And again, like, subscribe, notification bell, and we're gonna be unbiased, man. We're gonna give you nothing but the truth.
We're almost
So
at 10,000, guys. We can see it. We're almost there. Keep
Woo!
coming.
yeah, yeah. What would be great is if we got just as many subscribers. Hint, hint, stomp, stomp. Now, yeah, not trying to push you guys into it, but
No,
we
seriously, we're
really
desperate.
appreciate it. Yeah, yeah,
Desperate.
yeah, yeah. Get around the algorithm. So no, we appreciate it, guys. And without further ado, cats, I'm out of here. See you next time.
Big Nick Fury out.
Last but not least, Fat Broken Rambo out here.